All right, I'm going to start off and we're going to do our first primitive shape, which is going to be this rectangle here. And once I've drawn my rectangle and I've pulled it up, then I'll draw my triangle and push it forward. But my rectangle, I have to know how big it is. So I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each of these little boxes, I'm going to say it's 1 inch. Now, when I do measurements, they show up down here. So if I want to type something, I just type a dimension and it'll show up right there. So let's see if I can do this. I'm going to go look at it from the top, and I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to get right on that little 0 spot, and I'm going to make, I don't care how big I draw it because I'm going to type 6, comma, 2. 6 sideways, 2 the other direction, enter. Oh boy, that's awfully small, but that's it. That's 6 inches by 2 inches. So let me hit my little arrow selector and I'll click on Google Susan and I'll delete her. Delete, there we go. So now my next step is to figure out how tall it has to be. 1, 2, 3. So I have to make that shape 3 tall. And that's using the push-pull command. Click, highlight the area. See how it gets all kind of dotted? Click and up. And then I just type how far? 3. And it shows up in the lower right. Enter. And that's it right there. That's so cool. That's my first shape. And so I tend to go File, Save, whenever I do something good, so that if I mess something up later on, I can do it. So this is my primitive 1. And I'm going to save this as kind of an older version, just in case somebody needs to use it that's got an older version. Most people have 2018 or so. I'll just save it as a 2018. Okay, so now my next thing to do, draw this triangle, and it goes up 2 and over 1, 2, 3, and then there's a connector line. Let's see if I can draw that. I'm going to come out 3 and look. I want it to keep going in the same direction I started there. So that'll either be along the green axis, because I know it's parallel, or a continuous pink, too. So I'm going to just type 3, because that's where I want it to go. And then it's going to go up. See how it's going upwards? And I'll type 2. And then if I keep going up, bink, there's that little endpoint sign. Click and over to my other endpoint. And if it makes me a whole shape there, that's good. And now when I press pull it, I know I can go 6, but I can also just go back until it hits the edge. There we go. I've got my first shape. That's really cool. I've got it. If I want to make it really all one thing, I can get rid of that little piece. And remember, if I hold my mouse wheel down and I turn around, I can get rid of that little piece. And I'll bet you there's one on the bottom. And now I've gotten rid of all those things. And since I'm on the bottom, let's take a look and see what this next thing I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to come over 2 and then go back 2 over 2. Okay, so on the bottom, if I go over 2, back 2, over 2, okay, let's see if I can do that. So I'm going to draw from one corner along the edge 2, and then I'll come and see how it's green, because that's parallel to my green line. 2. Now it's got to go in the red direction. 2. There we go. Now I'm gonna do something kind of cool. to do something really kind of cool. I'm going to do that press pull. I'm going to push it up. There we go. Kind of neato, huh? Makes kind of a little weird tower. And then there's a trick. If I highlight stuff and right click, I do something called intersect faces with the model. What that means is it finds where this face intersect the model and it actually draws me a line. And once that line is drawn, I can get rid of the other stuff. And I've got it. There's my part. That's how I make a negative space. And well, I certainly didn't put it in the right place, did I? If I did something wrong, wasn't very careful, my 2 probably wasn't, probably mistyped my 2. But you see how to do it. Okay, so now I've got a part. It's not quite right, but it's kind of close. Okay, but there we go. And I can take a snip of this, or I can go File, Export a 2D graphic. And I can put that 2D graphic as a JPEG in there. So that's sometimes easier than doing a snip. I can do that. So there we go. There's our first primitive shape.